What is interesting is Leslie Frazier. Those who don't know, Leslie Frazier's had a really spectacular career. Started, I think, the first I remember was with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but most recently he was with the Buffalo Bills as defensive coordinator, and he just kind of randomly stepped away. And I don't really know if everybody understands why he stepped away at this point. My guess is he's head coach material, and for whatever reason, whether he's getting older and we like younger coaches, maybe people don't vibe with his defense, maybe they don't like the way that he presents himself, and who knows? But he is. You're getting further away from that opportunity, right? And you're sitting up in Buffalo, you're becoming the defensive coordinator, and you've done a good job and you've had good teams. But for whatever reason, maybe he thought it was an opportunity to take a step back, reevaluate. And he went into that NFL Accelerator program, which they put up to put more, I think, minority candidates in front of owners, get those relationships going, understand that you need FaceTime in order to get the opportunities. A lot of this stuff is a lot, back scratching and gland handing and, cocktail hour stuff. And do I feel comfortable with this person? So the more FaceTime you get, particularly with a well-spoken, unique, older, not old, but older gentleman in the National Football League, Leslie Frazier, who's got a ton of experience, a ton of football knowledge and information, is a great communicator. All of those things, I think, will shine out if he's put in those opportunities. But who cares for us, right? What's important for the Green Bay Packers is Leslie Frazier might become a Green Bay Packers coach in some form or function during the season. There's a report out right now, and let me just pull it up real quick. It says, after attending the NFL's recent Accelerator program in Minneapolis, former Bills assistant head coach and D coordinator Leslie Frazier spent 2 days with the Packers. He's going to be with the Commanders, going to go to the Giants, blah, 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 blah. But it says they're a favorite. The Packers are a favorite to land the former head coach. Now, this guy's a defensive genius. This guy's a defensive guru. And where have we completely struggled based on what the talent is on that side of the football is defensively, we just haven't been what we should. I was just looking up our stats because I didn't want to get this wrong. And last season, we were 17th in the league, opponents points per game at 21.8. We also only averaged 21.8 points per game. So just so everybody knows, if you average 20 points a game, you're not very good, right? You're kind of – I remember John Fox used to tell us in Carolina, the offensive – he was a defensive coach, right? So he always said, if you score 20 points a game, we should win every game because he thought his defense was going to give up like 13, 14, 15 points a game, something like that. I remember thinking to myself, if we're only scoring 20 points a game, like I'm going to go jump off a bridge because I used to scoring like 24, 27, 28 points a game being with the Green Bay Packers for all those years and being a top 3 offense every year. So, but it says here, yeah, we're giving up 21.8 points per game. There's a bunch of different stats as far as we were really poor. Sorry for that, guys. We were really poor, particularly with our rushing defense. And so, Leslie Frazier can come in, and he certainly had some, he's had some pieces in place over there. He had a great back end with Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde. Ed Oliver just signed his contract. Ed Oliver is a first-round pick I think out of Houston back in the day. Hasn't quite lived up to the billing, but is a really good player. They had 2 great linebackers. Matt Milano, I think, is still there. And then obviously they just had their first-round pick from a couple of years ago move on a huge free agent deal. But they've got guys. Obviously, Von Miller's been up there last year. They've had guys that are very good defense. He's had success. He's stepped away now. So I guess the question is, if he comes to the Packers, what does that look like for the current coaching staff? Now, I'm just going to give you my opinion as somebody who just wants the best for the players, but also knows how this stuff works, right? If I'm the defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers, and I just had the last 2 seasons and my job's under constant scrutiny, and they bring in Leslie Frazier and they go, oh, hey, we're bringing Leslie in as a special consultant, assistant to the defensive coordinator, assistant to the head coach, special consultant. He's not going to get the title of defensive coordinator. I don't know Leslie Frazier at all. I just know what I've been told by other players. You obviously see him in media. You've seen him on the sidelines. It would be very difficult for someone, and he is by all means one of the best humans that you can put in a building. I think it would be extremely difficult to see what has gone on the last couple of years with the talent that they have and objectively not point out some obvious things that might be obvious to a defensive guru like Leslie Frazier about how games have been game planned, schemed, and called on the defensive side of the football. Now, if a guy like that comes in and he's not reporting directly to the defensive coordinator, in other words, Leslie Frazier has a lot of cachet when he comes in the building. He's not going to, I don't think they're going to say, hey, you're going to report to our D coordinator. They're going to report, he's going to report to either LaFleur or Goody could hire him and say, you know what, I want to know, under the guise of I want to know more about what's going on with our personnel. What do you think of our personnel? Through that relationship, he could also gain, I'm talking about Goody now, could gain a lot of insight as to what's being called, how it's being called, how it's being taught. So depending on where he sits structurally, I could feel really good. In other words, if I'm the D coordinator and he's answering to me and he's reporting to me and he's giving me ideas and it's not going directly to the head coach, what a windfall opportunity. Okay. But I don't think that's going to happen because Leslie Frazier wants to be a head coach in the National Football League. So is he reporting to Matt, or is his chain of command Matt? Is his chain of command, or is it Goody on the other side where he's going, hey, we're going to go to this, we're going to talk about personnel, but through personnel, we're going to talk about scheme, system, and play calling. I think it's a net positive for the Green Bay Packers. I don't know if I'm sitting in the defensive coordinator's room right now, if I'm feeling great about Leslie Frazier coming in, unless I'm, even if you're like, listen, if you're really good and confident, if you're super confident you're good at what you do, then nobody coming into the building should ever bother you, right? You should be aware of what's going on. And if they're, moving you out, then you go find another job somewhere else. Cause we're playing politics. It's something different. But if you're constantly being questioned because the job that you've done over the last couple of years hasn't been great, it'd be tough to have the kind of confidence that comes with, having a really good defense, calling some really good stuff, teaching these guys really good technique, being great tacklers, etc. So it's a good thing. But now every time something goes bad, it's always going to be like, well, is Leslie in line? Is Leslie in line? Is he going to take over? Is he going to take over? And if you're Matt, do you want to insert that person into your building, knowing that if things go poorly, this could splinter off really quick, especially because I like Leslie Frazier. I don't even know the guy. I mean, you listen to him talk, you go, I'll play for him. Really quickly, I could see players going, oh man, why isn't he doing more? Because he's got it all. He's got the experience. He's got the cachet with the players. He's got the relationship. He's easy to talk to. He's got the relationship. Be super interesting. I think that would be super interesting.